Kevin Costner's 19-year union dissolved in 2023 following nearly 2 decades. However, merely 10 months afterward, his former spouse became betrothed to an astonishing individual, his personal companion. The treachery wounded more profoundly than most comprehended. Over many years, Costner concealed extramarital liaisons, a hidden child he rejected for an extended period, and romances that astonished the film industry. From speculations tied to Bull Durham to a dispute over fatherhood, his private existence was perpetually more intricate than his cinematic roles. Currently, at age 70, he has discovered a fresh companion. Yet can an individual who has devoted decades to shattering affections genuinely transform? Kevin Costner entered existence on January 18, 1955, in Linwood, arriving with greater sentiment than he could grasp. He was the smallest of 3 sons, although the second, Mark Douglas, perished mere days post-birth in 1953. That tragedy lingered eternally within the residence. As a child, Kevin observed the hushed instances that ought not to have been silent, and he perceived the burden in how his dad's jaw clenched amid minor difficulties. His father labored extended hours as an electrician at Southern California Edison, and periodically, the position relocated the household to another location. Every transition caused Kevin to sense he was perpetually initiating life anew. He seldom remained sufficiently to allow bonds to solidify. Thus, he mastered constructing an internal realm of fantasy, one portable regardless of the family's destination. When the Costners relocated to Compton during the 1960s, the surroundings altered Kevin further. The area transitioned rapidly from predominantly Caucasian at the decade's start to mostly African American by its conclusion. He frequently stood as the sole white pupil in his classroom and occasionally the lone one in his year. It heightened his consciousness of ethnicity and self long prior to comprehending societal norms. His Baptist rearing maintained his balance, and worship turned into a spot where he felt anchored. He performed in the chorus and discovered peace in tunes, verses, and modest artistic niches he created personally. The district was harsh, and disturbances echoed nearby. Yet Kevin remained near his kin and directed his gaze toward elements that invigorated him. Education emerged as a venue where he challenged himself in manners he didn't entirely comprehend. At Cabrillo Junior High and subsequently at Mount Whitney Secondary School and Villa Park Secondary School, he immersed himself in athletics. He participated in gridiron, diamond ball, and hoops, despite measuring only 5'2" upon completion. His height never deterred him. He sprinted. He battled for each maneuver. He performed in the parade ensemble. And he composed verses when worldly clamor overwhelmed. He pursued keyboard and string instrument instruction even amid financial constraints. And he appeared on educational platforms vocalizing compositions he authored himself. Those minor exhibitions ignited initial glimmers of conviction. The identical glimmers that years hence resulted in his 1998 rural music collection Untold Truths. He was unaware then, but these nascent instances of invention instructed him in converting feelings into tangible forms. Finances perpetually loomed as a specter in the Costner abode. His dad toiled as diligently as possible. His mom aided the clan as a social aid employee, and nonetheless they grappled through the 1960s. Kevin trimmed grass and accepted miscellaneous tasks to acquire basic items. And whenever he viewed a frontier film, particularly upon witnessing how the West was won at 7 years old, an impulse awakened within him. The figures on the display appeared grander than his surroundings. They seemed courageous. They appeared to bear veracity in their gazes. It embedded a notion in his thoughts that narrative could elevate a person beyond their birth circumstances. Amidst everything, melodies continually summoned him return. Kevin rehearsed keyboard and strings whenever feasible. He practiced in the family room, in sanctuary, at educational gatherings, wherever an audience existed. He crafted tunes originating from the minor tempests in his heart. That inventive spark endured for ages, and it ultimately assisted in forming his profession in melodies, guiding, and performing. Even young, he believed artistry could sustain someone through adversity, and he clung to that concept like certain youths grasp a rescue line. By the conclusion of secondary education in 1973, Kevin had shifted thrice in a decade. Each shift deprived him of something, yet it also rendered him flexible. He completed studies at Villa Park Secondary School, remaining 5'2", but a tenacious rival in hoops, diamond ball, and gridiron. He even competed beside Dennis Eckersley, who later pursued professional diamond ball. Athletics maintained his equilibrium. They offered a spot to channel his sentiments and a method to endure the perpetual alterations that molded his youthful existence. In 1973, he registered at California State University Fullerton with an uncomplicated strategy. He desired a secure tomorrow, something reliable, something that wouldn't distress his parents. Fees amounted to merely $99 each term, and commerce courses appeared the prudent selection. But existence tends to guide individuals toward their true essence. During his final years circa 1977, he strayed into a drama course. One session evolved into 5 evenings weekly. Shortly, he appeared in university productions such as Invitation to March, A View from the Bridge, and Waiting for Lefty. Observers detected something present, something unrefined and earnest. By 1978, he possessed a commerce credential, but his spirit had already ventured elsewhere. He encountered Cindy Silva in 1975 at the institution. They were youthful and optimistic and discovered solace in one another's presence. She trusted him, but when he began discussing drama, the ambiguity frightened them both. They endeavored to construct an existence from nothing, and aspirations don't invariably align neatly with people's schemes. Their bond contained both gentleness and pressure, influencing him well before the film world summoned him. All transformed in 1978, immediately following his union with Cindy. During their return flight from a post-wedding trip in Puerto Vallarta, Kevin observed Richard Burton positioned nearby. Burton had acquired adjacent spots for seclusion, but Kevin approached regardless. He informed Burton he contemplated drama, yet he was fearful. Burton heeded and then imparted something straightforward. If you aspire to be a performer, commit fully. Avoid retrospection. That single phrase embedded in Kevin like a verity he anticipated. It propelled him to enroll in the performer's workshop and dedicate to the route he had resisted for ages. The film industry didn't welcome him readily. After completing studies in 1978, Kevin relocated to Los Angeles and accepted any employment available. He labored behind scenes at the Triple Theater. He tried out for advertisements. He amassed denial upon denial, exceeding 100. Yet, he persisted. In 1987, he ultimately succeeded with The Untouchables. But the preceding years brimmed with uncertainty and despair. His initial cinematic part didn't assist greatly. Malibu Hot Summer, captured in 1974 and distributed in 1986, showcased Kevin in a cheap wave comedy so humiliating he later cringed recalling it. He portrayed a farm worker named John Logan and encountered clumsy sequences that prompted him to doubt all decisions. The creators deemed his performance awful, but appreciated his appearance. Kevin subsequently labeled the movie manipulative and expressed remorse for participating. Nonetheless, it educated him on what he never wished to embody. In 1982, he accepted an unattributed part in Francis Ford Coppola's Rumblefish. The production occurred from July to September 1982 and featured emerging talents like Tom Cruise. It generated solely $1.8 million against a $12 million expenditure. A flop that left numerous youthful performers seeking funds. Kevin discovered himself sleeping on sofas, accepting sporadic work, and realizing that collaborating with a renowned guide didn't ensure security. Then arrived The Big Chill in 1983, where he embodied Alex, the figure whose demise unites the narrative. Kevin filmed retrospective sequences intended for the movie. But following revisions, the director concluded they didn't fit. Merely Kevin's form in the casket persisted. It pained intensely, though Lawrence Kasdan felt such remorse he subsequently included Kevin in Silverado. Prior to that opportunity, Kevin featured in The Gunrunner in 1983. It broadcast years afterward solely due to Kevin's fame. Reviewers deemed it sluggish and unmemorable. He performed miscellaneous tasks, served meals, and propelled himself through trials, aspiring for an authentic chance. Silverado eventually materialized in 1985. He portrayed Jake, a swift-shooting outlaw with sufficient allure to draw viewers' attention. The production yielded $32 million against a $26 million outlay. Not an overwhelming success, but adequate to provide Kevin a base. Critics commended him. They perceived genuineness in him, something sturdy and sincere. It became the pivotal moment after years of refusal, fatigue, and minor advances. Kevin Costner assumed Elliot Ness in 1987, sensing that something significant awaited. Yet nothing arrived effortlessly initially. Paramount proposed $800,000 for The Untouchables, and he hesitated, aware the production could elevate him to another realm. He had recently earned $750,000 for No Way Out. Thus, the company anticipated swift acceptance, but he negotiated. He trusted the tale was important, and he trusted his role within it mattered as well. Following negotiations, he departed with slightly over $1 million. It represented a massive advance for someone not yet a marketable name. Then the film debuted and amassed $152 million globally. Abruptly, his composed, consistent portrayal of Ness captured attention. Opposing Robert De Niro as Al Capone and Sean Connery as Malone, he maintained composure with subdued power that secured a Golden Globe nod and elevated his worth. A year hence, he entered Bull Durham and all shifted anew. Crash Davis seemed a character crafted for him, a weary lower-league receiver mentoring a reckless newcomer enacted by Tim Robbins. The production garnered $53 million and transformed him into an amorous protagonist. Audiences adored his line delivery, his demeanor, the gaze he directed at Susan Sarandon in sequences that felt affectionate and disorganized simultaneously. Shortly, murmurs suggested their filmed rapport extended off-set. They appeared together away from work, and scandal sheets constructed narratives from every minor instance. Costner never affirmed anything, yet the speculations persisted. The movie became a societal phenomenon, and the buzz regarding their rapport trailed him long post-filming. Then arrived Field of Dreams in 1989, and something tender unfolded within him. He embodied Ray Kinsella with a delicacy that astonished observers. The renowned phrase about constructing a diamond wasn't scripted. He improvised it spontaneously, drawing from recollections he scarcely discussed. Upon release, it earned merely $5,319,346 in 22 venues. But gradually the tale circulated via word of mouth until reaching $84.5 million internationally. Viewers sat in dim theaters heeding that subdued voice amid the grain and experienced familiarity. His enactment converted a basic tale into an enduring legend. At this juncture, his renown ascended swiftly, so each decision counted. That was when he surprised all by declining Pretty Woman. The part subsequently iconized Richard Gere. Yet Costner departed. He avoided confinement to one archetype. Instead, he selected Revenge in 1990, a gloomier narrative concerning a naval aviator ensnared in a perilous romantic entanglement. Critics detected fragments of his actual existence mirrored in the character and pondered if he revealed more personally than typical. He favored challenging tales that examined him, even aware they bore greater hazard than benefit. But the Bull Durham speculations re-emerged in 1989, and gossip intensified. Scandal sheets published account after account, asserting a liaison with a fellow performer. And despite his denials, the strain infiltrated his private sphere. His union with Cindy Costner started bearing the burden of those titles. Years hence, the dissolution would reveal how profoundly that strain injured. The accounts couldn't be verified, yet they pursued him universally and influenced public perception of him. Then emerged the endeavor that would alter his existence permanently. Dances with Wolves saw its funding reduced by Orion Pictures, and rather than surrendering, he invested $3 million personally. He trusted the production could succeed, even amid doubts. Across 5 arduous months from July to November 1989, he filmed in 27 sites amid South Dakota's vast expanses. He performed, guided, produced, and assisted in scripting. Upon completion, it cost $19 million. 2 years afterward, at the 63rd Academy Awards in 1991, the production secured 7 honors, including Top Film and Top Guide. Few frontier tales had accomplished that. He became the uncommon celebrity who demonstrated he could sustain a narrative and direct it from afar as well. He also advocated for authentic cultural reverence. The production employed Lakota Sioux advisors and genuine tribal participants as performers and background. He studied the Cheyenne tongue and rehearsed daily. He compensated tribal extras beyond standard industry rates because he desired their involvement to signify something. The team captured footage in the Badlands, Black Hills, Spearfish Canyon, and the vast 50,000-acre Triple U Buffalo Ranch housing 3,500 bison. Observers noted the distinction. For once, a frontier film depicted indigenous groups with honor and consideration. Nevertheless, triumph carried a price. He declined a $40 million follow-up proposal in 1990. The demands had escalated too rapidly and intensely. He required respite. Insiders murmured about exhaustion and melancholy, and the demanding filming had driven him near collapse. Subsequently, when certain productions faltered, including Horizon, the company discreetly abandoned the continuation. It signified a point where he shifted from major series to more intimate narratives. His personal battles were more evident than realized. He ascended the platform at the Oscars and addressed Native American entitlements and his Cherokee ancestry. Spectators perceived assurance, yet privately, he grappled with fatigue. The 4-month filming involved frigid gales, snowstorms, and extended days that depleted all. Production designer Jeffrey Beecroft recalled the severity and how it exhausted the ensemble and staff. Costner later confessed the sentimental and bodily burden of the endeavor lingered extensively. There were also elements the sector would later scrutinize. Dances with Wolves lacked intimacy overseers, which the industry now views as vital. Costner justified the decision then, stating realism was paramount, but colleague Mary McDonnell subsequently stated the lack of assistance rendered her exposed. In 2025, when legal actions tackled outdated set protocols, the film was cited as an initial illustration of why changes were necessary. Nonetheless, his prominence expanded. In 1991, he transitioned directly to Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, a production that accumulated $390 million against a $65 million outlay. Bryan Adams's melody dominated UK lists for 16 weeks and propelled the film globally. Critics ridiculed his US dialect, yet crowds adored him. The filming was chaotic. They possessed only 10 weeks due to approaching winter and competing projects. Friction arose between Costner and guide Kevin Reynolds, particularly during editing when Reynolds exited over studio alterations. The film contained errors and sudden transitions, like a mute scribe abruptly vocalizing, but Alan Rickman as the lawman. He even solicited acquaintances to revise his dialogue since the original felt inadequate. Rickman secured a BAFTA. Costner received a Razzie. Nonetheless, audiences persisted. That identical year, he entered Oliver Stone's JFK. The production cost $40 million and yielded $205 million internationally. It incited fierce debate. Critics charged it with propagating plots. Costner delved profoundly into actual documents and investigations, Some discoveries disturbed him sufficiently to keep them confidential. The film garnered 8 Oscar nods and secured 2. The discussion became so fervent it prompted Congress to enact the JFK Assassination Records Collection Act, mandating document disclosure by 2017 rather than 2029. His extended 15-minute tribunal address was dissected by specialists, lauded by admirers, and ignited perpetual disputes. Then arrived Wyatt Earp in 1994, a 3-hour frontier tale constructed with attention and inquiry. It cost $63 million, over double Tombstone's released concurrently. Wyatt Earp earned merely $56 million, and critics labeled it overly leisurely. Nonetheless, scholars appreciated the precision of the famed OK Corral confrontation. They observed the combatants positioned about 15 feet apart, not the expansive, dramatic gaps most films depicted. Costner devoted months to preparation and immersed in particulars. Yet, the film faded unnoticed. And then came the Severus decline. The Postman in 1997 cost $80 million and generated only $27 million globally. Titanic premiered a week prior and dominated all viewership. Critics awarded The Postman a 17% score and deemed it overly solemn and misguided. The film received 5 Razzie nods. Suddenly, the individual who had sustained numerous successes faced skepticism universally. His standing in the film world suffered genuinely. Kevin Costner disliked deceleration. So when he emerged in 2007 with an ensemble named Modern West, observers assumed it was another star venture. But he continued regardless. By the release of Untold Truths on November 11, 2008, it became evident he pursued this from internal necessity. He appeared on stage with strings, provided primary vocals, and contributed to half the compositions. One piece titled 90 Miles Per Hour stemmed from extended days at his Montana property, and he infused it personally. The collection ascended to number 61 on Billboard's top country charts and number 35 on top emerging artists. Shortly, he performed at Cheyenne Frontier Days before 100,000, gazing at the assembly with subdued astonishment as critics ultimately acknowledged he wasn't feigning. Tracks like Superman 14 and Long Hot Night received broadcasts. Admirers sensed the narratives embedded in each verse, and briefly, it appeared Kevin had uncovered another facet of himself. But 2008 introduced a distinct aspiration and a distinct turmoil. He invested $3 million personally into Tatanka in South Dakota, a 35-acre facility designed to commemorate indigenous history and the bison narrative. It included a gallery, a guest hub, and full-scale depictions of Lakota trackers and buffalo. Observers questioned him from construction's onset because he endured an expensive separation simultaneously. They believed it was merely a self-indulgent endeavor. Kevin insisted otherwise. He desired people to comprehend prior eras. Nonetheless, disapproval amplified. And when creator Peggy Detmers charged him with breaching their pact, Tatanka turned contentious. The legal battle extended for years until South Dakota's highest court ruled for him in 2023. By then, the initiative symbolized the difficulty of achieving something significant while society attempted disassembly. That same year, he created Swing Vote. It debuted on August 1, 2008. And he portrayed Bud Johnson, an inebriate parent whose solitary ballot determines the U.S. presidential contest. The character evoked something ancient and agonizing within him due to regrets concerning his paternal bond. When financing collapsed, he contributed over $16 million personally to sustain the film. It accumulated $16.3 million in theaters and received acclaim from Roger Ebert, who appreciated the inventive essence. Others observed the unpolished quality in Kevin's portrayal. Amid this, he continued touring with the ensemble, reviewing scripts and striving to prevent life segments from overlapping destructively. Then arrived Turn It On. The collection debuted in December 2010 and gained full promotion in 2012. It seemed bolder, more liberated, and vibrant. Kevin collaborated with Vince Gill and Sarah Beck and propelled Modern West further into the roots rock style they pursued. But in 2010, prior to the collection's expansion, their travel vehicle collided in Europe. Kevin escaped with slight harm. Yet the jolt remained. It compelled him to pause, contemplate his kin, and examine his rapid pace. Once recovered, he resumed travel. Journeying through Europe and demonstrating modern West wasn't a film interlude. It was another path he valued. In 2012, he ventured into something grander. It was a $20 million concept named Lake Kevin Costner in Montenegro. The scheme involved an ecological retreat blending opulence with durability. He trusted in conservation efforts, and this initiative appeared an opportunity to merge enthusiasm with intent. But soon, regional authorities and conservation organizations charged him with infringing environmental regulations. Legal actions accumulated. Journalists termed it another audacious Costner risk inviting dispute. This instance, he didn't retreat. He remained committed, discovering how complex international commerce could be and how principles never endure unscathed. A few years hence, Yellowstone altered all. In 2018, he became John Dutton and received $500,000 each installment. By season 5, he bargained to $1.3 million per installment, totaling $18.2 million for 14. His compensation surpassed the aggregate of season 1's ensemble. It fueled the program's ascent to over 20 million spectators by 2023. Temporarily, it seemed he had entered a delayed career summit and constructed something memorable. But Horizon awaited. In 2023, he guided and financed a Civil War frontier series named Horizon, an American saga. It was captured over 9 months in Utah and cost between $50 and $100 million, with $38 million from Kevin personally. The initial segment premiered at Cannes. Debut weekend yielded only $11 million. It never entered 2024's top 30 productions. Legal disputes ensued. Accusations involved intimidation, monetary disorder, and exceeded funds. Studio sources claimed he induced postponements. Supporters desiring success observed it collapse under its burden. Then came the widely known dispute. In 2023, Kevin and Yellowstone originator Taylor Sheridan conflicted over script delays and authority. Kevin demanded oversight of all upcoming season scripts. Paramount declined. Discussions failed. Speculations spread regarding arrogant conduct and artistic exclusions. Kevin maintained he sacrificed film publicity for the program. By 2024, his departure became formal. He exited with lingering resentment and the sensation that something exceptional had escaped. The issues persisted. In 2024, stunt artist Devon Lee Bella initiated legal action during Horizon Chapter 2 revisions. She alleged Kevin directed an unplanned and aggressive assault sequence without permission and absent an intimacy overseer. She sought $10 million compensation. Kevin declared the assertions false. He asserted every sequence was practiced and sanctioned. The matter remained active into 2025, casting an expanding shadow. Additional murmurs arose when accounts stated he charged at West Bentley on the Yellowstone location in 2024. They disputed a strained sequence's portrayal. Observers reported pushing ensued. Filming halted. Kelly Riley was distressed. Bentley noted he joined a Taylor Sheridan production, not a Kevin Costner one. It became another significant blemish on his concluding season, and as this unfolded, his personal sphere continued evolving. Kevin wed Cindy Silva in 1978. They welcomed Annie in 1984, Lily in 1986, and Joe in 1988. He once declared she embodied all he respected in females, but by 1994 their bond disintegrated. Stories circulated about a liaison with Bridget Rooney amid Waterworld. The separation concluded at $80 million, among Hollywood's largest then. He admitted the division rattled his trust. It established the pattern for how complex subsequent bonds would prove. In 1996, a separate crisis emerged. Bridget Rooney delivered Liam. Kevin refuted parentage until judicial mandate for testing in 2002. Outcomes verified Liam as his offspring. Kevin established a fund and visited sporadically, but the connection never stabilized. Chatter spread regarding an Aspen property as silence payment. Journalists pursued every detail. It became another episode trailing him universally. Years hence, he encountered Christine Baumgartner. They commenced courting in 2000, separated in 2003, wed in 2004, and welcomed Caden in 2007, Hayes in 2009, and Grace in 2010. Their existence appeared serene until May 2023 when Christine sought dissolution. She cited April 11 as separation date. Filings mentioned inquiries about liaisons. Kevin highlighted her $180 to $8,500 cosmetic expenditures. By September 2023, the accord was final. Child aid set at $63,209 monthly. He contested, but the decision endured. Then the astonishment. Their dissolution finalized February 16, 2024. Under a year later, on January 26, 2025, Christine got engaged to Josh Connor. He had been Kevin's associate. The offer occurred on a Santa Barbara shore. Acquaintances stated the affection developed discreetly for over a year. Individuals near Kevin said he felt ambushed and termed it disloyalty. Some claimed he detected something between them pre-split. It pained him in a familiar, ancient manner. Simultaneously, speculations connected him to Jewel and even Jennifer Lopez. The Lopez tales ignited after sightings in Aspen during 2024's summer. Journalists asserted they courted. Insiders claimed it was publicity to divert from graver issues. Kevin stated clearly that he and Jewel were companions and never dated. He evaded film industry romances. He preferred subtler links. By July 2025, something fresh entered his existence. Her name was Kelly Noonan Gores. She was 46, recognized for her 2017 film Heel, and freshly separated from tycoon Alec Gores. They connected via shared acquaintances in Aspen. Kevin was 70, both recovered from arduous years. They discussed health and existence, and how separation creates odd fissures. She resided in Manhattan Beach, he in Carpinteria. They nonetheless convened frequently, typically in Aspen where their spheres intersected. She appreciated his reflectiveness. He valued the serenity she introduced to his days. By September 2025, scandal sheets asserted he openly declared the bond at a Heel showing. Acquaintances said that was incorrect. They proceeded gradually. No theatrical introduction. They shared time discreetly and avoided photographers. By December 2025, they integrated their kin. Kelly's daughter Riley participated in excursions with Kevin and his now adult offspring. Individuals near him stated this fresh connection provided gentleness after a shadowy period. Yet, subtle concerns lingered. Some recalled tales of his anger, the charging claims, the set conflicts. They wondered if this new element would persist. Nonetheless, those surrounding him repeated, Kelly introduced hope. She offered him room to respire anew. And after all he endured, that sensation mattered more than comprehended.